race. Yes, so now I wanted to talk to you about jobs. You have said that you believe in focusing on the informal and traditional sectors to create value addition to Ghana's natural resources. Now, past governments have tried to do this before, but they have complained about how difficult it is to formalize the informal sector. How do you plan to do it?
If you're talking about the economy, okay, where the ordinary Ghanaian is, okay, if you really want to improve that, that is where, as a government, you ought to concentrate. Just as I said, the traditional sector and then the informal sector, we have about 97% of Ghanaians over there. Now, it has to do with the laws governing this nation of protecting the informal sector. You have to make sure that that law is enforced as against in terms of trading, because Ghana is a consuming economy. And because of that, as a government, you have to make sure that you protect your own. Okay.
So what policy would do that?
That is why I'm saying that the laws, okay, stipulates that no foreigner should be engaged in some particular form of trading within Ghana.
We have the petty trading.
The petty trading, and that one we're going to make sure that we protect our own.
So that's already in the law, so we need to enforce it. That's what you're saying.
That is
so
what
how
I
do
say.
we enforce it?
No, enforcing is just having a political will. You know, one of the things, one of the issues with regards to our government is that sometimes because they've gone in for certain loan, and maybe because of certain conditionalities, they tend to turn a blind eye even on our laws. And I will make sure, that is why I say that if you're always going for aid, you turn out to be a slave. You don't tend to think and then understand how you'll be able to help lift up the living standards of your people. So we will make sure that we enforce that law, because it's a law.
How will we do it? Is it more money to the police? Is it more money to the...
More money. It's just the political will and instructing the law enforcement agency to make sure that they do the right thing, period. Now, the second thing is about some interventions, okay? When it comes, we will have a lot of people with laudable ideas. Ghana is a virgin economy where we have a lot of problems, and you can always create wealth when you have solutions to problems. Now we have a lot of people with very good ideas. Our banks are not actually helping us because the interest rate alone, kills any starter of a business. So what we need to do as a government... So
how do we address interest rates?
You know, with the interest rates, you see, it's a whole topic on its own. When you really want to delve into it, time will not allow that, okay, because it's...
But I'm sure the voters would like to know what direction you would go.
No, the direction that I will go is, first and foremost, as a government, we'll set up a Bureau of Business. And that Bureau of Business will actually invite people with ideas who would want to start up some businesses with their business plans. And what we do, if even it calls for a sovereign guarantee or whatever, as a government will ensure that, because our policy is to deliberately create millionaires in industries and industry giants. So what will go with you, and the Bureau will go with you, will make sure that the finance is available to with flexible
We already
terms.
have the Private Enterprise Foundation that does something very similar to that. Are we not just duplicating?
If it's working, you see, I'm saying this outside that, but as a government, we will rather find out why it's not working as we ought to. What they are not doing is that they don't work with people throughout their business. Now, what I'm saying is that we will form a partnership with you. You have brought that idea. Initially, the government will owe, let's say, 80% or 90%. You owe 20%. We'll provide the finance. We'll start going with you through the business. And as the business develops, the shareholding of the government will reduce up to a point that the business can stand on its own, and then you pick it up and go.
Okay, so you're saying the government will go in as shareholder?
As a shareholder to your business, and by making sure that it provides the needed funds for you to move ahead with your ideas.
Government doing business, is that not dangerous though? Shouldn't we leave that to the private sector that does it better?
You know, what I mean by government is that, you see, as a government, you have to create that enabling environment. And that bureau is going to be a privately owned bureau, but being supervised in collaboration with the government in accordance to the PPP the public-private partnership. Okay, that is how it's going to be run. The government is going to empower the private sector as truly an angel of growth by creating that enabling environment. And practically, I'm stating it in a practical way. That is why I say that we, the government, will work with you, because we will make sure that the funds needed is available for that Bureau of Business.
But you are opening up for governments actually owning private businesses through this.
No, you see, working with, what is happening, the reason why we have our interest rates is that, say that there's, Ghana is a high-risk area. And for that matter, you have to pay a high premium on that because of risk, which is in accordance to finance principles. But what is happening, the reason that is being risky is that those who have access to loans turns out to handle them, and sometimes there are some forces, the market forces, that fights against the business, and the business tends to.
All right, let's go back to talking about the informal sector. I think you mentioned the number 97% of Ghanaians are involved in it.
Informal and the traditional sector.
I think I've seen a lower number, but anyway, I think it's a majority of Ghanaians who are involved in it. So let's talk about how do we bring them into the formal sector. We want them to also pay tax to be part of our formal system. What are your ideas for accomplishing that?
You see, first and foremost, that's why I say that once, like, one of the policies that we have is had to do with supporting women, okay, and women's group, to make sure that if they have a business plan, we'll make sure that we provide the needed funds for them. Like if you have, let me use a well-known women's group like the 31st December Women's Movement. Okay. If they have a business plan that we think is workable, we are not going to put on any cap that they belong to a particular party or not. We'll make sure work with them through the business plan there and make sure that we provide.
Okay, another sector you have talked about is mining. Let
me end this.
It sounds like it's the same as the private sector involvement.
No, I wanted to add the tax system. Okay. If we are providing for this, we know the income that is coming in, and therefore, as a government, we will automatically tax you. By so doing, we'll be able to open up the tax net and bring in it, because you need a tax in order to govern a nation.
Okay. So this kind of brings me to the next topic, which is mining, where you have significant experience. You have talked about the Galamsey operations and how they can be, I'm quoting you, transformed to benefit Ghanaians and the environment. You're saying that Joy 2012, that you will lead responsible mining business. Transforming Galamsey operations, how do we do that?
You see, first and foremost, let me clarify this. Galamsey and the small-scale mining. Galamsey, in quotes, is an idea of an illegal mining. Okay, and then we have the small-scale mining. Now, the law stipulates that the small-scale mining belongs to the indigent. Okay. Now, what is lacking in the small-scale mining or the Galamsey for? It's technical assistance and financial assistance. When it comes to technical assistance, Ghana has been mining over 100 years. TAPA started in 1877, Obuasi 1896. We've started exporting expertise in mining to other nations, even including Australia and so on and so forth. So what we need is that those who have had experience in large-scale mining, now we're going to bring a lot of them on board to set up a technical assistance to the Galamsey people, training them, capacity building, as to how to mine safely, okay? And then make sure that they don't get themselves. You see, the environment is being polluted with mercury, which will have a lot of adverse effects on all of us in terms of our health, because the time may come that the mercury will form part of the food chain, and it will end up having cancers.
But you make it sound simple. I'm sure governments before have tried to formalize and to make this sector more safe. So, is it that simple?
No, it's not that it's that simple.
We have them spread out over a very large area.
I'm talking about, yes.
There's and we small scale.
We have over 7,000 scattered Galamsey sites in Ghana. Now, what we
7,000.
It's quite a lot, and then it employs a lot of people. Over almost 100,000 people are involved in Galamsey in Ghana. If you move onto one site, you can get about 3,000 people. Now, what we're saying is that, as a government, we did an analysis and we realized that each Galamsey site might need about $3 million, okay, to work with. Now, that has to do with the needed equipment and the right type of mining based on the expertise that we have derived from the large-scale mines. So once we do that, and then I'm talking about capacity building, making sure that we take them through certain training for them to understand as to how to mine. And then thirdly, you see, the recovery, if you look at the mining methods that they are using, the recovery is just about 30%. Now we've come out with a plant, and that plant can actually
That means
increase.
We can get more gold out of the rocks.
Out of that, out of the rocks, okay. With that plant, the plant that we've come out with doesn't use mercury, meaning that you can mine with that mercury by saving the environment.
So what does the Galamsey miners say when you present these ideas? Are they happy about it?
They are very happy. But see, it calls for a political will for the government to say that, yes, we want to increase. We want to make sure that we develop that economy for our people, because I call it a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, because the revolving fund, when we did the calculation, within the payback period, it's just about 7 months. So
indeed, it is a sector that has promise. I think it's been mentioned that small-scale mining is a 500 million Ghana cedis industry. That's the number I heard when doing research for this. But another issue is that many of the miners in these small-scale and Galamsey operations are minors. So how would you address this problem? They are not grown-ups, they're children.
Oh yes, there's a law, okay, which bars children to get involved in such activities.
But currently they are there.
They are there. You see, it all calls for this law enforcement. That is why at a point in time when I was launching my campaign as far back as 28th of April 2011, I mentioned that we need a working Ghana agenda, because everything seems not to be working in Ghana. Unfortunately, all the political parties, the major ones, they've picked it up. The CPP say Ghana must work again. And now the NPP say Ghana will work for you. And now NDC is saying we are working for you. So it means that there's a gap. What that means is that we need to make sure that we enforce the laws that we have.
And how do we do that?
No, it's just empowering the law enforcement agency. You see, when justice prevails and everybody realizes that, yes, you are fair, okay? I mean, every Ghanaians will tend to abide by the law and knows that, because if it's not selective justice, but as a government you are fair to everybody, and it can only take an independent presidential candidate to actually demonstrate this kind of leadership in this nation.
So within your first 6 months as president, what steps would you take to ensure this development of fairness and I guess transparency, the legal system to work more efficiently?
Within the first 6 months, I have even said at another platform that the first 60 days I will ensure that the Bill of Information is passed. I mean, that begins the fairness to everybody, and then we just try to educate the society with regards to the actual state of the nation. Okay, so that everybody will appreciate that. And then we just try to carve out a national development plan, which is lacking, because these political parties are locked up in their ideological parties of socialism or capitalism, left to right wing. That is why Jacob Osei, what I'm saying, that the ideology that I hold is appropriatism. Do that which is appropriate in the context of the people that you are leading.
Okay, so let's talk about this ideology that you bring out. You say it's not capitalism, it's not socialism. So what is it?
It's appropriatism. Doing that which is appropriate. Like Arama, just as you're sitting in front of me. If I realize that, hey, I need to do A, B, C, and D for Arama in order to improve the standard of living of Arama, I don't have to say that I'm a capitalist, therefore I have to think in the right way, or I'm a socialist in the left way, or right way center.
But
I would do that to
mean
uplift you.
You don't believe that there are competing interests? I mean, as a political scientist, what I even understand with politics is that there are different interests, there are different ways of reaching the goal of a good society, but we have limited funds and we need to decide.
See,
you don't see it like that.